All right, folks, it's that time again. So make sure to buckle your seatbelt, stow your tray tables in the upright position because it's time for me to piss off a couple of RV manufacturers. And in one case, it might upset the consumer base as well. It's not meant to be that. It's actually meant to be educational, not a bashing assignment. So, with that being said, welcome to HB Lifestyle, the podcast. I'm the host, the Honey Badger, here to give it to you straight and transparent about the RV business, as well as some other things. Now, before I launch into this, one really quick announcement. It's important. Okay. I have created and are continuing to create a bunch of Facebook groups that will allow people of every brand, every manufacturer, from Forest River to Grand Design to Brinkley to Alliance, to Genesis Supreme. Some of my favorite stuff, some of the stuff I'm not a fan of. And everybody's going to have a safe space to stay anonymous, post pictures, post videos that I will never take down. You'll never see a manufacturer or manufacturer owner or manufacturer rep inside those groups trying to get you to take down videos or take down pictures. And it's all going to remain anonymous. That means that you can come in and tell us about what's going on with you, and your name will never be mentioned. What actual model you own will never be mentioned. So that way you have a safe space to actually tell us what's going on in the world. Whether it's a Grand Design, a Forest River Flagstaff, a Brinkley, doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm gonna put those links in the description box below. If you're a manufacturer or a dealer, you're not getting in. Sorry. And I know how to look for you guys. And you're not getting in because I want this to be a safe space where they're not pressured to take things down, because that's just ridiculous. Because the emails I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to read today to you. And that's a great segue into this. One of them is one of my favorite products I've ever sold. And the other one is unfortunately something I'm going to battle for a while because I believe their marketing campaign is full of crap. All right. And when I read these emails, these text messages, and things of that nature, and I'm not going to read them verbatim because, again, it's got personal information. And these folks, I've already told these folks to go seek Liz Amazing. And they told me they don't want to go to Liz unless it's last and desperate, because they believe that if they go to Liz, they're not going to get the rig fixed. And these folks poured a lot of money into this stuff. Okay. So the first one we're going to talk about is a favorite product of mine. I even own one. It's a Keystone Cougar. Now, I have not gotten very many reports of actual real frame failure when it comes to Keystone Cougar. Okay. It's the same thing about a reflection with Grand Design. It's just few and far between because most of them are very lightweight and short. And I own a 42-foot Keystone Cougar, a 2019, and we haven't had any frame problems with it. We've had other issues, just like anything else, especially when you live in a coach. My kid's mom and my kids live up in Oregon in the Cougar, and believe me, there's problems. It ain't perfect, but it's still one of my favorite products to sell and one of my favorite products to actually represent. But reading this email these text messages I got is really disturbing. And it's not disturbing because the frame failed. It's disturbing because it feels like they're being discriminated against. I'm going to repeat that again. I feel like they're being discriminated against because of the state they live in. The state they live in is full of forest, snow, has 4 seasons, high altitude areas, low altitude areas, ocean, mountains, lakes, etc. Now, there's a lot of states like that, so it doesn't give away where they are. But these folks are legitimately, the way this reads and the way I read between the lines, they're being discriminated against because of the state they live in. And let me explain. So they own a 2021 Keystone Cougar. The build date is within 4.5 years. And when they contact, what basically happened is they used it basically a grand total of 7 months in the 4.5 years they've owned it. And they were about to go embark on a nationwide tour of national parks. Nationwide tour of the United States of national parks. They were going to hit the road for the next year or two and just have a blast and build memories. They're both retired, ready to rock and roll. Within 30 miles of basically leaving their home, the frame collapsed. It didn't just fail, it collapsed. If you look at the pictures, now I'm not going to share the pictures because I've been asked not to by this consumer. But the reality is they can't even stay in the rig, can't even go in the rig without feeling like it's going to snap. It's horrible. It's nasty. And when they contact Keystone, Keystone basically, long story short, is you're shit out of luck. Go talk to Lippert. Lippert tells them, oh, it's only a 1-year warranty, so you're way outside of that. We're not going to do shit for you. And basically, it was hinted, wasn't said, but it was hinted, because of the state they live in, they feel like they didn't do the proper maintenance that was required because of that state. Literally. So you've taken, now this, I'm going to pick on Keystone for a minute, because Keystone actually, for the most part, has been really good about this. When something goes wrong with a frame, they're on it. Now, is that true of everybody? No. Is that true of the majority? Yes. Are there people out there that still haven't been taken care of? Absolutely. Same thing about Grand Design. Even though I feel like Grand Design has done a better job of taking care of people with frame failure and frame flex and all that stuff. Of course, it does help there's a class action lawsuit against them. But anyway, long story short, for the most part, this has become a smaller issue, not because of suppression necessarily, but because things have moved in the right direction. Now, it took a lawsuit against a major corporation to basically move this process in a better direction, and it took Pete and Lisa over at Grand Design Major Issues and Major Problems to basically like build a how do you put it? Basically a group of folks that have a safe space to talk about things. And it's taken like some videos and educational stuff by independent service people that don't work for dealerships and don't work for manufacturers across the United States and Canada to kind of move this along. But the people that first started, I want to give them a great shout out, is Paving New Paths. Big shout out to Paving New Paths. You guys were on the forefront and took the blunt of the bullshit on this. Okay. And I got to say, if it wasn't for you guys, I probably wouldn't have gotten involved. So now back to this. So these folks have spent all this money preparing. We're finally ready to hit the road. We've used it for some fishing trips. We've used it for this. We've used it for that. Haven't used it more than 7 months out of a 4.5-year period. Stored it under covered area where snow couldn't get on top when we weren't using it in the winter. Winterized it properly. Did all the things that we were supposed to do, and it still collapsed. And Keystone doesn't want to do anything about it. So does that make Keystone a bad company? No, it makes whoever is making that decision an idiot. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because I want you guys to be warned about something. And I told them this. If it gets to a point, because I invited them to come on the podcast. Everybody that sends me an email, I invite them to come on the podcast. The people that come to me haven't gotten to the point where they feel like they need Liz Amazing. Bottom line, fact. And a lot of people don't like the way Liz does things. I'm not the only one. I have found out that a lot of people can't stand her content. Now, I feel like she's a necessary evil in this industry and in the community. And I feel bad for her sometimes because some of the treatment she gets by people. That doesn't mean I agree with her style. but I also point people in her direction. I know, shocking, right? Don't you talk crap about Liz? No, I don't talk crap. I talk facts. Facts and talking shit are two different things. I talk shit about certain corporate RV dealership YouTubers because, oh my God, I know they've built the Springdale 240BH for 22 years, but every time I see it, every year it's so innovative and it's so great and it's so amazing. Oh my God, let me be a pitch guy for a corporation and make everybody feel like everything's perfect. I mean, I talk shit about those guys. I don't talk crap about people that do normal content. You know, like I'll give you a great example. One of my favorite corporate RV dealership YouTubers is Matt's RV Reviews, Matt's Toll Reviews. I think Matt does a great job. He has a pretty good balance. I'm not going to say it's perfect. Nobody's perfect on YouTube. Nobody's perfect in the industry, but Matt is really good. JD from Big Truck Big RV, really, really balanced, right? The RV Hunter, especially his short form stuff, is just fabulous. Just fabulous. Okay. And then you have some folks that are a little too on the oh my God, oh. Okay. And it's the same thing about manufacturers. So, what my goal was behind this Keystone Cougar segment is if Keystone if Keystone wants to start backtracking and discriminating against people, let me know. Because if you're going to discriminate against somebody that lives in an area that has snow, that has 4 seasons, that lives up in the mountains, you might as well discriminate against me, because Klamath Falls, Oregon area gets 8 to 15 feet of snow a year, has 4 seasons, has weird thunder and lightning storms, is in the middle of a forest, a lot of it, that whole Klamath County area. You might as well discriminate against everybody that lives in most of Canada. Let me know. Because if that's the case, I'll just stop promoting your product. I'll stop talking good about it, because this is ridiculous. This lady needs her rig fixed or bought out of it. This is an absolute shit show. Now, I'm pretty confident, like I'm confident with Alliance RVs guys. I'm really confident that Jeff, or somebody equal to Jeff over there at Keystone, is going to do the right thing once they watch this podcast. Because this is bullshit. Absolute 100% horse manure. It's garbage that this woman is being treated like that this family is being treated like this. This is absolutely crap. And message to Jason Lippert. This is what happens when you guys start saying the words no because you're worried about profit. You're worried that, oh my God, if we do one, we have to do it for everybody. This is legitimately a problem with the frame. This is not some lady upset at her rig. This ain't bullshit. This is a legit problem. And once again, if Lippert is going to discriminate against people that live in certain states, let me know. So I can start telling people that live in mountain communities where there's 4 seasons, hey, by the way, you have no frame warranty. This lady needs to be taken care of. It doesn't need to escalate any more than that. But I'm being very dramatic, but I'm trying to give the dramatic effect of there's 50 U.S. states. I forget how many provinces in Canada. How many of those have the same weather patterns as the state? How many provinces have the weather conditions of this state? And some of these smaller states and people that live in rural areas are very, very open country where the nearest repair center is a 2-hour drive. You're going to discriminate against them too? So it's just let's use our common sense brains here. This is a legit problem that's caused by a manufacturing issue. Okay. You guys have done less. You guys have done more with less. Now I'm expecting Keystone to deal with this. I'm not expecting Lippert, but I just want to let, because I know that some of the higher ups of this industry watch this podcast, and I want it to be known to you guys that this is the low level decisions that are being made by some of your key employees in your warranty department. And it looks like discrimination. This isn't me coming going, oh, you guys are the biggest pile of shit on God's green earth. Of course not. I would never say that. Is every Keystone Cougar going to have their frame fail? Absolutely not. Okay. Is it going to be a high percentage of Keystone Cougars that have their frame fail? Absolutely not. But when it does happen, this needs to be taken care of. This doesn't mean dragged on and make the consumer feel like this is a complete shit show. And this is where AI, and I'm going to talk about this in another episode, this is where AI is going to change a lot of this for the manufacturers in a positive way. In fact, the next one we're going to talk about, and this is where I'm going to get bashed by consumers, but before you bash me, I want to point something out. I will guarantee you in this comments section that there will be some Keystone Cougar customers that will make some comments like, I've never had a problem with mine. Great. You know, those are great comments. But you won't hear anybody call me names or email me or text me and talk shit. Alliance RV, I've been talking about their shower problem in an episode and dedicate an entire episode to their shower problems that they've been having in their fifth wheels. Not one Alliance RV owner of either the manufacturer came on and called me a blowhard. Nobody called me or talked shit to me. Nobody came on in video and go, he's picking on me. Wah, wah. Didn't hear any of that. I didn't get one consumer that owns one of the fifth wheels telling me that I'm a blowhard and I'm full of shit and blah, blah, blah. You know what I got? I got a bunch of emails and text messages from people that bought their Valors, bought Paradigms, and said, thank you. We know what to look for. Don't let little leak turn into the elevator from The Shining. Tons of gratitude from Alliance RV consumers saying, thank you for actually telling us. And then I got a whole nother list of issues that I'm putting together that we need to talk about as well when it comes to Alliance RV. So I don't see the Brady boys coming on calling me names or sitting in their $150,000 car talking shit. So you know what I'm about to bring up? I'm about to talk about Brinkley. And it's not about seals. We've already done enough about the seals. I've done several episodes about that. I've given you the good, the bad, the ugly. I've given you all angles of that. There's nothing else to talk about. We know that we already know the seals leak on a lot of the fifth wheels and travel trailers. We know that there's water intrusion that happens a lot more than what Nate Goldenberg wanted to admit on camera. Okay. But at the same time, before I get into the problem, at the same time, could the exterior seal be innovation? Could it change the industry? Possibly. I doubt it, because Bob Tiffin would have done it if it was something that was actually feasible and plausible and going to help the industry. Bob Tiffin would have done it years ago. Okay. But hey, time will tell. I was a doubter of electric refrigerators, residential refrigerators. Now I'm a proponent of them. Okay, but technology got better over 15 years. We're only in year 4 or 5 of this external seal. And a lot of the people having the leak problems are 2021, 22, and 23 year models. And now I'm getting reports of 24. So stuff that was outside of the 1-year warranty that was originally given by Brinkley. So that being said, I now have reached a point where I've got 21 people that have sent me photographs, video. They've asked me not to post them because it has their personal information. They don't want Brinkley knowing they're sharing this information with me. Showing massive bubbling in the roof. We're not talking about one or two here or there. We're talking about massive bubbling. Now, I'm going to put a video in the description box below. I'm going to try to put two, try and find a second, but there's one of an actual roof being put on correctly that doesn't have bubbling. So bubbling in the roof material, no matter what it is, TPO, alpha ply, whatever the case may be, is not going to harm the roof. Not in the short or long run. I want to make that clear. But what these people are complaining about is if you can't put the roof on right, how are you putting the exterior seals on right? That's the complaint. 21 people made the same comment. If you can't put a roof on right, where it's clean and perfect, how can we trust you're putting the exterior seals on right? Valid question. 100% valid question. So now you're having quality control problems. Now, does that mean every single Brinkley out there is going to have massive bubbling in the roof? No. Does that mean every Brinkley RV out there is going to have water intrusion come inside their coach? No. Are there probably hundreds, if not thousands, of very happy Brinkley consumers? Yes. Just like there is for every other manufacturer. Okay? But is it the greatest thing since sliced bread? No, it's not. I would choose a Keystone Cougar travel trailer, a Rockwood Flagstaff travel trailer, an Alliance RV travel trailer. I would take an Intech, an Airstream. I would take, god dang, man, I'd take probably 15 brands over Brinkley. Fact of life. Even with all the leak issues that Grand Design Imagine had with their slide outs, I would take an Imagine over a Brinkley with all the stuff that I have been sent by consumers. Period. But here's the thing, and this is why I tell people, everybody's going to make a choice and everybody's going to spend their money how they want to. There are people who tell me they would rather spend $10,000 on a 1995 Comfort, because that's all they really have is 10 grand, and they rather rebuild it their way. There are people who tell me they wouldn't spend anything less than $300,000 on a motorhome. There's people who have told me all kinds of things. We all have to make our personal decisions on how we spend our money and how we spend our life. We can't have somebody tell us what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to educate you. Because if you go by a Brinkley, you're going to know all the really good things, because the manufacturer is going to market themselves as the greatest thing ever and try to suppress negative information. It's a thing that marketing team's been doing since the Keystone RV days before Thor bought it. Okay. Look at the boat companies, Grand Design, everything. You go look at how they operate. They're fabulous at it. They're masters at it. No one is better. But you're going to know what the great, and you're going to know what the good, you're going to know the bad, you're going to know the ugly. If you go buy a Forest River Flagstaff or Rockwood, you're going to know the great, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You go buy a Genesis Supreme RV, I'm going to tell you everything that goes wrong. Even though I'm the biggest fan of toy haulers built by Genesis Supreme, they ain't perfect. That's why I'm creating a group down there for Genesis Supreme major problems. Because I feel like there needs to be a safe space for everybody to go to. So the reality of all of this is not to bash anybody. The reality of this is to get people to understand. And sometimes I get very emotional and passionate about this because I'm tired and sick and tired of hearing sales bullshit. I have a tough time telling somebody on a Forest River Flagstaff or a Rockwood, I have a tough time telling anybody, oh yeah, this is the most perfect rig and it's better than anything out there. I can't do that. I'm sorry, I can't. Yes, I'm a big fan because I feel like it's Forest River's best product when it comes to travel trailers. They have best lineup, best floor plans, best bang for your buck. But I can't tell you it's better than a Keystone Cougar. I can't tell you it's better than a Brinkley. I can't tell you it's better than a Grand Design Solitude trailer. What I can tell you is I would take it over those brands. I would take Cougar second. And it's because the track record is a lot longer. The I have a tough time telling you something's innovative because to me, it's been the same shit for 15 years. The only thing that changed really was the refrigerator, the solar, and some of the way we do cabinetry now. And some new floor plans have come out here and there that some were successful, some were garbage. Fact of life. Weight distribution hitches probably are the biggest innovation that I've seen over 15 years. Those have changed. Not dramatically, but they've changed. We have some companies out there that have come up with some very innovative, very expensive stuff. Okay. Fifth wheel hitches and gooseneck adapting hitches and Gen Y hitches. That stuff has become innovative. Some of the suspension stuff that they put on some of the stuff, aftermarket, not from the factory, but from aftermarket perspectives, looks pretty cool. But something's been around forever. It isn't something new. You know, when changes were made from Onan to Yamaha, when Forest River, when Pete Legal was alive, and Yamaha was brought into the industry as a built-in generator, that wasn't innovation. That was twofold. That was survival of the toy hauler and motorhome industry during COVID when parts and generators were hard to get a hold of. And number two, it gave us better control over getting warranty claims done. We could actually keep the generator inside the motorhome or inside the toy hauler and work on it there and get paid to work on it rather than having to take the damn generator out and ship it to a Cummins authorized warranty center. That's not innovation. That's just smart. Innovation is not shrinking a slide out width down to fit a Razor Pro R. That's not innovation. That's just smart. Innovation will be when you can run everything in your coach on a towable, fully electric, without draining the shit out of your batteries. We don't have that yet. You can do a soft start 13.5 AC with 800 watts of solar and two lithium batteries, two big ass batteries, and it gives you about 5 hours of, in good conditions, gives you about 4 to 5 hours of running the AC, as long as you don't run the TV, the microwave, the lights, the water pump, or anything else. In great conditions. That's not innovation. It's been that way for 12 years. That hasn't changed. The batteries changed, but the solar kits, the inverters, the air conditioners, the soft starts, that hasn't changed. Is it really cool, some of the designs of this stuff, where they've gotten more modern with the look of a trailer or look of a motorhome? Absolutely. 200%. Is that innovation? No, that's just smart because you got to keep up with the times. So just remember this. I will always be here to give you all aspects of it. And RVs are not all a piece of shit. I don't care if it's a Brinkley or not. I don't care if I'm a fan of Brinkley or not. Does that mean that Brinkleys are all a piece of shit? No. No. Not one bit. Is the majority of Brinkley's a piece of shit? No. Absolutely not. Far from it. So until next time, remember, RV stands for toolkit and sense of humor.